You know, you've probably been in a restaurant where, like, the background music is absolutely deafening at your table, but the table right next to you can barely hear a thing.
Oh yeah, classic. Total nightmare.
Right. It is a complete failure of invisible architecture. So, today's deep dive is all about a piece of gear designed to solve exactly that problem. We're looking at the QSC AC-S4T-WH surface mount speaker.
Yeah, sold by HDTVSupply for about $310 a pair, I believe.
Exactly. And the spec sheet for this model is, well, it's dense with numbers. Okay, let's unpack this. It's like reading a foreign language where the numbers actually translate to real-world physical experiences.
They really do. What's fascinating here is that every single metric points toward one specific mission, achieving absolute audio consistency in, complex commercial environments.
Right, and it's part of QSC's AcousticCoverage Series, which tells us right away that the priority isn't like face-melting bass.
No, definitely not. It's really about that 130-degree conical coverage.
Which is massive. I mean, pushing 130-degree dispersion is essentially throwing a sonic blanket over a room. It's almost like using an ultra-wide-angle lens, but for audio.
That is a perfect way to look at it,
Yeah.
because it completely changes the installation geometry. With a narrower audio beam, an installer has to basically deploy a really dense overlapping grid of speakers just to avoid dead zones.
Which sounds super expensive.
Oh, it is. But by widening that angle to 130 degrees, you drastically reduce the total unit count you need to achieve uniform sound pressure. It's just an elegant way to lower both hardware and labor costs.
Makes total sense. That's exactly why it's tailored for AV conferencing, paging, and, background music. But getting that wide dispersion while maintaining clarity requires some pretty specific engineering.
Right, let's look at the internals. You have a 4-inch polypropylene woofer and a 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter.
And polypropylene is notoriously resistant to moisture, right?
Yep.
Plus, the aluminum gives you that high-frequency snap.
Exactly. And that material choice directly influences vocal intelligibility. I mean, commercial spaces are incredibly hostile acoustically. You're constantly dealing with hard, bouncing reflections off glass and concrete.
Oh, totally. Just echoes everywhere.
Yeah, so the aluminum tweeter ensures the consonants in human speech, which live in that 70 hertz to 20 kilohertz range, remain crisp rather than getting muddied.
But I'm looking at the power rating here, and it's listed at 16 watts RMS. 16 watts doesn't sound like a lot compared to massive home theater systems. So what does this actually mean in practice?
Well, you have to look at the peak sound pressure level. It can actually hit 103 decibels.
Wow, off 16 watts.
Yeah, they are prioritizing acoustic output over raw wattage. A highly sensitive driver simply doesn't need a massive power plant to get loud. It's tuned for vocal clarity, not shaking the walls.
Right, efficiency is key.
And because commercial setups often require running hundreds of feet of cable through drop ceilings, this unit integrates a low-loss 70 or 100-volt transformer.
Ah, right. Because stepping up the voltage proportionally drops the current, which minimizes the power lost to resistance over those massive commercial runs.
Precisely. It keeps the signal strong.
But it does include an 8-ohm bypass, which is a really smart addition if you're just, dropping these into a smaller conventional low-impedance setup.
It bridges the gap perfectly. It lets the speaker function in both massive paging systems and localized high-fidelity zones. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, the physical shell has to survive those harsh environments too.
Right, pulling its own weight. The housing is UV-treated ABS, acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. It's a tough thermoplastic that won't get brittle or yellow under intense commercial lighting. Plus, it carries an IP44 rating.
Meaning it's explicitly sealed against solid objects larger than a millimeter.
Like stray wires or tools during an install.
Exactly. And it can withstand splashing water from any direction. So this speaker can live on a damp restaurant patio just as easily as an indoor retail floor.
That ruggedness pairs with what has to be the installer's absolute favorite feature, the 4-pole Euroblock connector on the back.
Oh, the Euroblock is a lifesaver. It allows for loop-through wiring.
So instead of running individual home run cables from the amp to every single speaker, you just daisy-chain the audio signal from one directly into the next?
Yeah, it turns a potentially week-long wiring nightmare into a highly streamlined process. It just cuts down on cable clutter and hours of expensive labor.
So stripping away the jargon, the QSC AC-S4T-WH isn't just a box that makes noise. It's a highly calculated commercial tool. Between the moisture-resistant build, the efficient 103 decibel output, and that 130-degree dispersion, it's built to blanket difficult spaces with clear, reliable audio.
It really is.
It-
And, the next time you walk through a transit station or sit down in a crowded conference room, just take a moment to look up.
Right, notice what's above you.
Yeah. Consider how the invisible audio architecture of the room, specifically the precise acoustic dispersion of commercial speakers like this one, is quietly shaping your psychological and emotional experience of that space.